Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a video and talking about the world of Final Fantasy and observing the power of the ultimate alien race, the God race. Subscribe, remember to enjoy the video, have fun, and let's get right into it. The Ultima race is a species that are godly in magic and mind, with a divine magic that's typeless and all natural. They are the creators of the world that we know called Final Fantasy XVI as a singularity named Ultimalius, the legendary god creation. They are the ones who created and dispersed their power amongst hosts called dominants. Throughout the history, the dominants have been passed down through centuries over the ages, which that power is known as icons. In other Final Fantasy worlds, those powers are known as aeons. If you know anything about Final Fantasy, of course you know none are of the same world, except some are connected to one another. Though Final Fantasy XVI is a world that's meant to be a more advanced medieval time period. Alright, Ultimas arriving in the realm of Valisthea via ship called Origin was coming back and waiting over centuries for the great vessel that to one day appear. The mythos that strangely take powers, the magical icon abilities created by them. Thus, realization happens in knowing that the prophetic omen of Ultima Risen was about to begin by attaining the perfect vessel who was the dormant Ultima wielding unlimited power. Not to get that mixed up with Clive though. Ultima shown that he wields divine and neutral magic, elementless and immense. He's shown travel and combat speed to be greater than the speed of light, can warp faster than speeds in short distances, which is 12 times faster than the speed of light, prior to being Ultima Risen and Ultimalius. As shown, each Ultima were equal in power. Ultima and Ultima Risen would increase to 36 million meters per second in short distances using his teleportation. But in long distances, he only be able to travel at 1.2 times the speed of tachyon speeds, meaning it'd take him about 7 minutes to get to the sun. However, as Ultimalius though, with the energy of the mother tree, he reaches over 1500 times the speed of light, being able to reach the sun in half a second, but in short distances, moving at 449 billion meters per second, pretty much faster than a blink of an eye. However, his speed increases even more though, when freezing time, which reaches temporarily a nigh infinite speed in short distances, but using power of darkness would make him infinite speed whilst combined with absolute zero. However, this is supported because he never attained the unlimited power that Clive wielded, which would make him more than 10 times stronger and allow him to revive his entire race, which then they could combine and become an even greater ascension of the singularity that we fought, which is beyond the universe, space, and time, even creating a new utopia, which was the additional goal. However, that never came to be, that never happened, but it is supporting that Ultimalius' true self as God is otherworldly and transcend all interdimensional layers of the universe. It should also be noted that Ultimalius isn't beyond absolute zero, nor not being affected by stop time, showing that the Ultimalius we fought is a great decline from what Ultimalius truly lies. His power is very powerful. Ultimalius' magical powers had enough destructive power to wipe out worlds in an instant. He casually wielded strength to cause the rapture, even showing power that can cause a catastrophic universal destruction, cracking even space-time itself. Wielding the traditional and most powerful Final Fantasy abilities within the history and franchise in its entirety. Flare, Holy, Zeta Flare, Rapture, Ultima, Meteor, Smite, and his own moves like Pulsar, Dimacharos, Flames of Creation, Stellar Zytron, all this crazy fanatic moves that he can do. And there's more, right? Which the strongest is Purgatorium, which is capable of wiping out the entire universe with a 1-minute charge. However, as his true self, if he had gotten Clive, that shouldn't take more than but a matter of a second. Which he shows you later that in a pocket world switch, it's nothing but a void of darkness. Supporting again his goal in wanting to revive his race and remake the universe. He could reality warp on the fly. However, his physical strength isn't all that great or impressive, as he can't physically punch or kick that hard in comparison to Clive. His striking and attack power is seriously just equivalent to the actual Titan. However, even Kupka and Clive can get more power out of that iconic ability. But this shows Ultimalius' weakness, of course. Even though wielding vast destructive power, he couldn't apply and imbue those same attacks with the overwhelming abilities he possessed. And in the hidden boss level, which shows an extra cutscene, Clive had to tame his Ultima inside for control and right, the will of his own body and power, which Clive's skill actually wasn't as good as someone like the Warden of Darkness or even the other dominants in using their own dominant iconic abilities. He was just stronger, which facing someone stronger was able to override his passives and being capable of having impenetrable defenses, yet completely and utterly annihilated by Clive, boasting universal attack potency. May not be as knowledgeable in knowing different cosmic abilities like Ultima, but his powers were on point and on par as he ascended to Ultima level of power, knowing how to imbue and wield his magical strength to overcome the otherworldly Ultimalius, who was affected by every clash in a contest of skill and strength. In the end, Ultima couldn't reach his goals. Neither had unlimited power, and the moment Clive attained it by defeating Ultima, it literally was destroying his very existence. It was too much for him to wield and could not use it. Therefore, he had to sacrifice his life and give it back to the world, ever expanding it, killing him in the end, keeping the universe full of magic, but no more Ultima or fear of an Ultima race to ever exist again. They have been exterminated and now extinct, leaving only baby Leviathan was roughly equal to Ifrit as the only dominant and icon to exist, frozen in his own chasm of time in the sea, consistently preserving the human life through time, which makes him pretty much Leviathan's final fantasy, supporting the ever overall lord of the Aeon icon deity Leviathan within the franchise as being one of the most powerful primordials to exist in its history across the different Final Fantasy worlds. Extra tidbit here, the weapons and accessories have different lore on them, even some with time periods. However, that doesn't apply to Clive specifically, as that is the fantasy part of the game, as in the name of Final Fantasy, as also for the ones with time periods, that's the tale and recorded history from that prophet's perspective. If it were not, then Sephiroth would be on the realm of Valisthea along with other super soldiers, Genesis life equation, and characters from Final Fantasy X like Yojimbo, Lulu, etc. would exist. Funny enough, Yojimbo, Anima, and Magus sisters, who are practically like a trio of destiny, Fate Sisters of Fate. Similar Aeon-like abilities, and the exact were used. Notice I said similarly like too. If Yojimbo actual attack Zanmato was used by Ultima, Clive wouldn't have won. That's the strongest ability in all of Final Fantasy history as a whole. So again, that's how the fantasy part of the lore items work. The outfit he has on and the Invictus are the gear he used and take. He doesn't actually use any of the extra gear except the upgraded standard items, which none were better than the Invictus, so up to that sword and the Macian items. All in all, Final Fantasy XVI is a masterpiece of a game. It's a game that you should pick up, an adventure that will leave you amazed with flailing tears. I completely encourage you to get this and play it. However, be wary that it's more than 40 hours. Again, it's more than 40 freaking hours. It's a good action game to pick up, so I really encourage you to get it. Whether if it's on sale, whether if it's not on sale, you will love all of the drama and action. It is great. The choreography, great. The powers, the action scenes, great. QTEs, great. Everything good. Soundtrack especially is gonna get you hyped up, right? But even dialogue and dialect is really good as well. Anyways, I hope you enjoy your day, and until next time, the next one will be on the highway of heaven and hell, and also will be very destructive and overall purplish, if you get my drift. The powers of the God, the Soon, the ultra power, very, very, very strong, right, will be coming soon. Peace.